Okay, it's scary story time. So this one is by far one of the scariest things that is true Philippine ghost story. I already know this is gonna be good.
She's around 15 to 16 years old at the time of the story, and her mom always travel to LA for auditions.
In the Appalachian Mountains on the Canadian side. My mom is a huge believer in everything paranormal, so when she told me this story, I knew it was true. Anyways, my mom loved to take long walks in the forest with our dog who's now passed away. He was a husky.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Huh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all paid. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly.
I need to tell you guys this ghost story. True Philippine ghost story. I already know this is gonna be good. This story was my mom's. She passed away in 2021, but it's the creepiest story she told us. It was around the late 1990s when my mom became friends with a neighbor that owns a small grocery store in our town. Not sure how my mom became close with her, but based on what I knew, the husband of the owner, who was a police officer, cheated on her, and they were having a rough time. My mom comforted this lady a lot to the point that they were best friends. Unfortunately, my family had to move to a different city, and since this was the late 1990s, there was no social media yet. My mom and her best friend lost touch with each other. Oh no. Just a quick side note, I'm using the Drybar rollers, which I paid too much money for the amount of rollers you get in this box. They are softer on the hair, which is fine, but I have really thick hair and they hardly grab onto anything. I always have to use clips. I want a Velcro roller because I shouldn't have to use a clip with the Velcro roller. I always have such a hard time with them. My pink ones that I got these off Amazon. Baby, these grip your hair, okay? These will grip your hair and these do not fall out. I don't need any clips with those. Just if you're looking into Velcro rollers, I would say if you have like thinner hair, I have a lot of hair, okay? And this tiny little 6-pack does nothing for me. A couple of months went by and it was shown on the local news that the grocery owner took her husband's life. Hold on, okay. A couple of months went by and it was shown on the local news that the grocery owner took her husband's life by him while he was sleeping, and then herself too. Huh? One night my father wasn't home and my siblings and I were sleeping with my mom. My mom had a dream, and in her dream she was walking home with the grocery store owner on a long dark road. In her dream my mom asked her, "Why are you walking this way? You live the other way." Her friend replied, "I'm dead. I'm just looking for you." What? I have had dreams where relatives who have passed on have come to visit in my dreams, but never have they been so blatant about being like, "I'm not alive anymore. I'm here to find you." I don't know how I would feel about that. My mom ran away as fast as she could, and when she reached our house in the dream, she woke up. Now, this is an important detail. The floor on the second floor of the house is made of bamboo strips, and between the gaps of the bamboo strip, you can see the floor below. I don't know where this is going, but I feel like I'm gonna hate it. A house like this was common back in the 90s to lessen the heat inside the house as we live in a tropical country. Relieved that it was only a dream, she stood up and was thinking of going to the bathroom downstairs when she saw someone below. Oh God, I knew I was gonna hate it. When she saw someone below between the gaps of the bamboo floor. It was looking up to her. The visual that just crossed my mind, oh my God, I can just see eyeballs. I can see like a weird like tilt to the, it's so gross. So I'm sick. I am genuinely sick. It was up to her. Like it wants her to know that it's downstairs. Like it followed her. This entire story is giving me the biggest creeps of all time. Oh my God. I knew it was gonna be good. But the visuals that I'm having right now are just really freaking me out. Just imagine waking up in the middle of the night after just this really weird dream, right? And you're like, okay, I'm safe at home, I'm good. You're getting up to walk to the bathroom. You look down, oh God, and you see somebody in between. Oh no. My mom was so afraid that instead of going to the ground floor, she went in a cup of coffee instead. Girl, I would have gone right there in my pants. After seeing that, I wouldn't have made it to the cup. Okay, we've got all the rollers in. This is the fun part. I'm using my Shark with a little curling attachment, and I'm just gonna stick it inside each little roller to heat them up. I do this on the lowest fan setting and the highest heat setting. My hair can handle a good amount of heat, but I do it on the lowest fan setting so that it's not so crazy and the hair doesn't get blown out of the Velcro rollers. A couple of years after that, a family who apparently doesn't believe in ghosts moved into the house of the grocery store owner. The neighbors told them that a crime was committed in that house, but they didn't care. One afternoon, the kid of the people who moved into that house was watching anime in the living room when the kid heard someone clearing his throat in the bedroom. When the kid looked at the bedroom, he saw a guy sitting in bed asking him, "What are you doing in our house?" The family moved out in just a week. Oh no. Years after, a tricycle driver, which they explain here is like a mini taxi, I guess, happened to pass by the house of the grocery store owner at around 3 a.m. Oh, absolutely not. Why are we doing that? According to the driver, he saw a woman waving her hand, calling his attention like she needed a ride. He decided to go back because he thought that the lady was a passenger. The lady vanished like smoke when he was finally near her, and it scared the crap out of him. He only learned the story of the house in the morning when he told the neighbors what he saw. Oh my God. To this day, no one lives in that house. Oh.
Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny and welcome back to another episode of Crazy Spooky Story Times. So these stories are, per usual. Make sure you don't watch the video at nighttime because they are spooky. So let's talk about the first one where the friend was basically looking for her friend who's still alive. She unalived her husband and herself, and then she was looking for her friend who is still alive. But in a dream, when the friend woke up, that's when she realized that someone was watching her. Well, I've had I've had a similar situation when my godmom passed away, and for months I would see her in dreams, and I will hear her outside coming to get me, and I'll wake up screaming in the middle of my sleep, saying that she's outside coming to get me. And at some point I even used to sleepwalk to the door, and they would literally have to stay up. People have to take turn sleeping or staying up to watch me so I don't open the. Can you imagine though, guys, if I did went with her, y'all wouldn't have this Jenny today. I wouldn't be here. That's crazy. But anyways, as a child, I've always been like super sensitive to the spirit realm, to like spiritual stuff. I've always been really sensitive. And until this day, like my dreams, I'll have dreams, and literally within days or hours or months or even years later, the things will happen as if it's like a deja vu. And I'll remember, oh crap, I had that dream before. And the last one that I had was while I was on a trip with my friends, which whatever happened with our friendship, I saw it in my dream literally the day before it happened. It was so vivid to the point when I woke up, I was in tears, which means I was actually crying in my sleep. But when I woke up, I felt all the emotions, and also I was literally in tears, and my eyes were so red. It was to the point where I was literally crying in my dreams. And when I woke up that day, the things started happening. Like whatever happened started that day, and then also, not only because I was so close to her, she was my godmom. She basically raised me. I was the only daughter she had. She had 2 sons. And when my mom ended up coming to the United States, she was the one that raised me. And I was so close with her, and I was so young too. But also because of the way she passed away, it affected me as a child. And I think from there on, I was having experiences every single night for 6 months, to the point where they had to take me somewhere to get some help from like a shaman, in Haiti. But yeah, I used to always wake up screaming because I would see her in my dreams, and she'll literally ask me to come with her. Like she'll take better care of me. Come with her. And that's what I would be screaming. And sometimes I'll not wake up, but I'm still sleepwalking to the door because I hear her outside knocking and telling me to open the door for her so she can take me with her. And as a child, that's all I wanted. I wanted to be with her. So I was actually going to go with her. Imagine.
Tonight, I'm going to tell you a celebrity ghost story, and this one follows Fairuza Balk. You know her best as Nancy Downs from The Craft. So she's around 15 to 16 years old at the time of the story, and her mom always travel to LA for auditions. Now, when they go, they stay at this one hotel on the 3rd floor, we'll say, and it's the same hotel every time. It's beautiful, an old Hollywood hotel. It looks dated, but in a very tasteful way. Now, every time they go, the pair usually stays on, we'll say, the 3rd floor, in the same exact room. They know the staff really well, they're well liked, and they normally have a good time and then go home after. So on this particular occasion, though, Fairuza has an audition, same as usual, but this time she goes by herself. And when she gets to the hotel, the room that her and her mom usually stay in is booked for the weekend, so they put her in a room on the 1st floor. Now, this is a room she's never been in before, but as she opens the door, she realizes right away that the room seems really cold. She goes over to the AC to see what the temperature's on, and we'll say it's on like 68, which can feel cooler in dry heat, but as somebody who goes there all the time, she knows that the room shouldn't be that cold, so it's feeling more like 50 degrees. And she goes to the closet, gets a blanket out, takes a shower, and goes straight to bed. The audition she has the next day is a huge audition for a huge movie, and she wants to make sure that she's well rested so she can focus tomorrow and do a good job. So after she showers, she gets right in the bed, turns off the light, and then turns over. Now, the room at this point is still really cold, but as she's sleeping, or at least trying to sleep, she hears something flick on. So she rolls over, and she sees that the light is on. So she goes and she cuts the light off, rolls back over, and then a couple of minutes later, she hears some clicking. So she's looking around, and the light's back on. So she turns it off, she rolls back over, and she goes to sleep, and then she hears the damn thing again. The light is back on. So at this point, she's feeling really uncomfortable, but now she's also starting to notice that the room, which was already cold, appears to be getting even colder. So she's shivering under these blankets at this point, and all of a sudden, she sees the chair move. Now, she thought she was tripping initially because she was tired. It's been a long day, and so what she does to make sure that it's not her is she puts her finger out, and she says to herself that if the chair moves past her finger, then she knows that it's the room and not her. And sure enough, after holding her finger out like this for about a minute, the chair moves slowly past her finger. So she's freaked out, and she makes the decision that whatever's in this room with her is really feeding off of her fear. So she tries to calm herself down, but as this is happening, the curtains start billowing in this room that she's in. And they're huge curtains, probably like velvet fabric or something, and they're just blowing in the winds. Now, there is a door leading outside of this hotel room, but it's locked shut. So these curtains are just sitting there, and they're just moving in this invisible wind, and she's really freaking out. And then she hears something skirt across the floor. The chair is moving again, and it's getting really bad. She is frightened. And to make things even worse, the dresser starts sliding across the floor as well. And she just remembers thinking that whatever's in this room was really violent, and she could just feel the air automatically start to get heavier. She couldn't explain it. So she tries to calm herself down and decides that she's gonna head towards the lobby. She musters up all of her courage, and she's about to leap out of the bed to dash towards the door when all of a sudden, the bed starts to shake, and then it levitates like a foot off the ground before slamming back down. And this is when she decides that she doesn't care what's happening in the room. She's making a dash towards the lobby. So she gets up, and at first she can't open the door. The door is locked, but she manages to get it open. She starts running down this hallway. Now, the hallway feels like it goes on forever, but it's really not that long. And she can just feel this big foggy mass pursuing her. It follows her out of the bedroom and down the hall. And at first she doesn't feel like she's gonna make it to the lobby, when all of a sudden she sees the light, and she makes it. Now, as soon as she gets out there, she crashes down, and the lady who works in the lobby is there, and there's also a maid who's folding up some towels, and so they're looking at her, and both of them are just kind of shocked at the sight they're seeing. The lady who's working the desk goes over to her. She's out there in her nightie, no shoes on. She's freezing cold, and she can't speak. And she says that it takes her almost an hour to be able to get the words back because she feels like she had like a vice on her throat. There was something that wasn't allowing her to talk. Now, I do know that Fairuza Balk is a sensitive, but this is when the story gets a little bit weird. So as she's sitting there talking to the lady who works the front desk and the maid, she starts to gather a small crowd of the employees there. Now, as she's trying to explain to them what happens, you can tell that she's just getting everything out, and she knows she sounds crazy. And that's when one of them looks at her and goes, "Oh, you don't have to try to convince us of what happens in that room. We already know." And as she's looking at them, she overhears the maid who was out there when she came out tell somebody else that she should have never been put in that room. Now, after hearing all this, she tells the lady at the front desk that she is not going back in that room. And so they send somebody to get her stuff, and they bring it out to her, and I think they accommodate her in another room somewhere. The next day, she decides to haul ass. She says, "Screw this edition," and she goes back home. Now, in her story, Fairuza states that whatever was in the room wanted to make itself known. It insisted upon itself, and that terrified her. Not only did it want to make itself known, but it was a very angry and violent spirit as well. Now, she doesn't know what the entity was, but she did return to the hotel a couple of times. She never stayed there again, but she loved going there for the scenery and the aesthetic, and she grabbed lunch there pretty frequently. But there was one particular time when she came back that she noticed that The room that should have been at the end of the hall, the one that she stayed in on the first floor, was all boarded up. So she inquired about it at the front desk, and the woman who was there when she was there told her that there were too many instances happening there and that they felt that the room was too dangerous, so they decided to have it sealed shut. But she doesn't know what it was. Of course, she would go on to star in movies like The Craft and have a pretty successful career. But I want to know what you guys are thinking about it. What do you think was in that room? Let me know if you would like some more celebrity ghost stories, and I will see you guys in my next video.
Buenas, buenas, and happy Friday. Hold on. Before we continue. Okay. It's scary story time. So this one is by far one of the scariest things that has ever happened to me in my entire life, and I hope it never happens again, and I hope it doesn't ever happen to anybody. So this was about 2010, 2011. I was either 17 or 18, one of the two. And at the time, I was currently working at a Subway. And at this particular Subway, we weren't allowed to wear anything around our neck, like any necklaces or pendants or anything like that. So I grew up wearing something called a scapular, which is this, it's like a necklace almost, but it's like a brown cloth in the front and then a brown cloth in the back. And it's used in Catholicism. But since I wasn't allowed to wear it at work, I would always take it off and tuck it into my bra. On this particular day, I was a closer, by the way, so I would get up late. There was something that just kept telling me to put it on. Put your scapular on. It was just this gut feeling that kept saying, put it on, Melissa. Put it on. I had no idea why, but I said, you know what? I'm going to put it on. I finished my shift and I was driving home. This was about 1 or 2 in the morning, I would say. And I had to drive down this super dark, abandoned street. I come to this 4-way stop intersection. And obviously, because it's in the middle of the night, there are no cars, no anything. And I come to the stop sign, and to my right, there is this really tall figure standing next to the stop sign. It's during October, so I'm like, it's a Halloween decoration. But I just thought that it was weird that it was on the street next to the stop sign. So this thing is abnormally tall, taller than the stop sign, and it's completely dressed in black, like in a black suit. You couldn't see his hands, or its hands, whatever it was, because he was wearing gloves. And the head was a freaking ram's head. And I don't know why, I'm just like sitting at this stop sign looking at this thing like, what the fuck is this? When all of a sudden, it lifts up his hand, and it just does this. When I saw that thing lift its fucking hand up, I think I broke the damn gas pedal. I was driving like 80 miles per hour on like a 35 or 40 mile per hour street. And at this point, I'm only like 3 minutes away from my house. So I'm literally hauling ass down this street as I'm looking out my window to see where this thing is at. And this thing is running with the car, dude. It's literally like its head is turned looking into my window, and it's running with the car. I was so scared. I literally blanked out, and like nothing was crossing my mind. Like I couldn't even pray. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just driving and wanted to get home. So I finally get to the main street, like a block from my house, and there's light now, and I turn back around and this thing is gone. Like I don't see it anymore, but I'm freaking the fuck out. I used to live in a cul-de-sac, and I'm turning into the street, and there's no parking in the cul-de-sac. So I'm like, what the hell? Now I gotta park on the street and walk my ass to my front door. So I finally park on the street, and I'm looking through all my mirrors trying to make sure this thing isn't freaking following me. And I'm about to pee myself from how freaked out I am. And I used to always carry a rosary around the mirror, the rear view mirror of my car. So I grab this rosary, and I'm taking it with me as I'm coming out from the car. I close the door from my car, and the rosary literally, like, it explodes in my hand. Beads are flying everywhere, and I'm just like at this point, I don't even know what to do anymore. So I run my ass a half a block to my house, and I finally get to the door, and I'm like banging on it. I can't even figure out how the hell to unlock the door. I run into my mom's room, and I'm like crying hysterically, and she's like, what the hell is wrong? She turns on the light, and she's like, what happened? And I'm like telling her what's going on frantically, and she looks at me, and she gets up, and she's like, well, you're like pale. I finally calmed down after a few minutes, and we prayed. My mom and I prayed together. She even woke my sister up to like pray. And then I sat there and I said, something kept telling me to put my scapular on before I left. And my mom was honestly kind of freaking out because she's like, why is this thing like following her? And she told me, if you ever have a gut feeling, just make sure that you put your scapular on. And honestly, I wore it for years and years and years and years and years until I got this little chain for my confirmation. My madrina gave it to me, and I never take it off. Thankfully, I never saw this thing again. And I know this sounds fucking crazy. Luckily, the older I get, the less things that I see. But when I was younger, yeah.
Let's read some more scary stories that were sent to us. When I was about 7 to 8 years old, my family and I used to live in a very small town in the Appalachian Mountains on the Canadian side. My mom is a huge believer in everything paranormal, so when she told me this story, I knew it was true. Anyways, my mom loved to take long walks in the forest with our dog who's now passed away. He was a husky Malamute. And one day when she was walking in the forest not far from our house, she got a very unsettling feeling and she got chills even though it was very hot that day. That day, our dog started barking and growling at something, so my mom unleashed him so he could be able to protect her. When she unleashed him, he ran into the woods and ran back just as fast. When my mom looked over her shoulder to her right, she saw what appeared to be herself, but a weird version of herself. Who she saw had ginger long hair in 2 braids, and it looked just like her, and she was looking directly at my mom. When she saw that thing, she ran as fast as she could and got home with our dog. She was so scared and shocked that night, she couldn't even close her eyes. About a month or 2 after that happened, my mom and dad told me and my siblings that we had to move. We didn't understand why, but we agreed. About a year after moving, I asked her why we moved because she loved that house. And it was then that she told me what happened to her in the forest, and I immediately started to feel weird because I never felt okay in those woods. When I was about 10 or 11, I was ill and did not go to school one day. My parents both worked and couldn't get the day off, so they told me to just stay in the house and don't answer the door to anyone. I was sitting watching TV in the front room that has a big bay window that looks out onto the street, which is a main road with a row of shops across the road. I felt awkward with all of the people walking past, so I decided to shut the curtains slightly, and for some reason, as I did, I noticed this man in his late 40s, early 50s with a beard and glasses, wearing a green knitted jumper. Something about him walking past just seemed strange, but not enough to play on my mind until he walked past again 10 minutes later in the same direction, as if he had just looped around the block. 10 minutes later, he appeared again and stopped at the edge of the driveway for about 30 seconds looking at the window. He then proceeded to the door looking in the window as he walked by. He knocked on the door a few times, but something told me not to answer. He then came to the window, banging on it and saying something, but I couldn't make it out. I then noticed the realization on his face that there was a back door. My parents never locked the back door, so the dog could come in and out as he pleased. I ran through the kitchen, and within seconds of locking the door, the handle started turning and he started banging on the door. I curled up in a ball on the floor in fear, and he started trying to open windows and eventually left about 30 minutes later. I dread to think what could have happened if I had not remembered the back door was unlocked. My cousin and his wife and their infant son had lived in their house for about 5 years. His wife left home to drop the baby off at daycare before work, but realized she had left her phone at home. Entering the house, she turned the corner to the hallway and nearly ran into the drop-down attic ladder, which was fully extended. They never used the attic as it was filled with loose insulation, and my cousin had left for work hours earlier. She quietly left the house, drove around the corner, and called the police. When the police investigated, they found a short-range transmitter connected to several cameras hidden throughout their home. The light fixture in the shower, the ceiling fan above their bed, even a pinhole in the nursery were sending videos to a nearby location. Their neighbor a few houses away had been given a key by the prior owners and installed surveillance equipment once he knew their schedule. My cousin's wife walked in on him updating his equipment, but he forgot something at his house and left to get it when she walked in. He had been watching them for years. That is freaking insane. This story happened when I was younger. We live in a busy city here in the Philippines. We lived in an old 2-story house that had been renovated to look more modern. When my sister was 4 or 5 years old, my grandma would often hear my sister laughing by herself, and my grandma would also get severely sick often. One time, my parents were hanging out with their friends in our living room, and my mom shouted at me, "Stop running, you might fall." My mom swore she saw me running behind the couch, but when I answered, "What?" from upstairs, my mom got silent. I still remember the feeling I got when my mom told me about this. Fast forward to my early teens, I was about 16 years old at the time. It was my turn to clean the house, and I was dreading mopping our stairs. For context, our stairs are made of solid wood, and every night around midnight, I would always hear our wooden stairs creaking like someone was standing on them. Anyway, I went to clean the stairs, and I had about 6 to 8 steps left. What I saw made my body freeze. The steps leading to our second floor were dark, and I saw 2 dirty-looking feet standing on one of the stairs I was just about to mop. I remember saying, "The water is dirty," acting like I needed to change the mop water, hoping it wouldn't notice I saw it. I told my mother about what happened, and she agreed that there was really something wrong with our house. We moved to a new neighborhood a few years later into an apartment. My first time going to it, I was helping my mom move stuff in. I remember getting chills when I was moving some stuff inside, and in the corner of my eye, I saw a dark figure walking past our screen door. I told my mom about this, and she said, "Let's just endure it. We live in a new house now, so let's see how this new life turns out." Freshman year of college, I was semi-dreaming. In this dream, I'm sitting on a bench with a hallway in front of me. My wife was next to me. Mind you, I have no wife and no girlfriend. Nonetheless, I knew this was my wife. She was holding our child. At the end of the hallway, there was a mirror. I look up at the mirror, see my wife and child there. I look back down at my baby. The baby turned to charcoal and blew away in front of my eyes. I looked back into the mirror, and there was a wispy old woman looking back into my eyes. Then, while making eye contact, she screamed the most blood-curdling scream I could ever imagine. I woke up completely unable to move. I was terrified. This happened in December last year. I was visiting my uncle in northern Minnesota near the Canadian border. He's the kind of guy who prefers solitude, lives in a cabin deep in the woods, no close neighbors, just the trees and whatever lives in them. I never minded visiting. I like the quiet, but after that night, I don't think I'll ever go back. It was the coldest night of the year, at least negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. My uncle had gone into town for supplies, so I was alone. The cabin was warm, the fire crackling, and I was scrolling on my phone when I heard it. Something moving outside. Not footsteps, more like a dragging sound. Slow, deliberate. At first I thought it was the wind, but then came a knock. Not at the door, at the window. My uncle's nearest neighbor was miles away, and no sane person would be out in the cold. The knocking came again. I reached for my flashlight and shined it through the window. I wish I hadn't. There was something standing just beyond the tree line. It was tall, at least 7 or 8 feet, but emaciated, with long, bony limbs. Its skin looked frostbitten, almost blackened, and its eyes were glowing, not reflecting light, glowing on their own. I should have looked away. I should have closed the curtains, but I was frozen, staring, unable to breathe. And then it smiled. Its teeth were too many, too sharp, stretching across its face. It opened its mouth wider than any human should, and then it spoke. "Let me in." The voice didn't match the body. It sounded wrong, too deep, too garbled. I ran. I grabbed my uncle's rifle, locked the door, and backed into the farthest corner of the room. The knocking stopped, but I could hear it scraping against the walls outside. Slow and patient, like it had all of the time in the world. I sat there for what felt like hours, rifle shaking in my hands, until my uncle finally came back. The second his headlights swept across the trees, the noises stopped. He found me pale, sweating, and gripping the rifle like my life depended on it. I told him everything. He didn't say a word, just nodded and checked around the cabin. When he came back, he looked unsettled. "There are no tracks in the snow," he said. "Nothing." That was impossible. I heard it and I saw it, but there was nothing outside. No footprints, no marks on the walls, just the untouched snow and the silent watching trees. I left the next morning and haven't been back since. My uncle still lives there, but he told me something before I left. If you ever hear it again, don't look, and whatever you do, never let it in. I haven't told anyone else this story until now, but I know what I saw, and I know it's still out there. Years ago at one of my first jobs, a colleague told me a story. The night before, she had gone out for some drinks, and on the way home, she had got off the bus and was walking down her road to her house. A taxi pulled up alongside her, and the driver told her to get in the car. She obviously said no. He then said to her, "Call whoever you want while you're in the car, but please just get in and I'll explain." So she got in. Turns out, walking behind her was a topless guy with no shoes on and a machete in his hand. Cab driver had already called the police, but then saw my colleague, so he stopped to look after her.
Every girl at my high school was told the same thing. Don't look too long in the bathroom mirror. Now the first rule was simple. If you see a girl in red behind you in the mirror, don't turn around. But the second rule was even worse. If she smiles, then it's already too late for you. Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. Let's get into this Reddit no sleep story time. I went to Hawthorne High from 2011 to 2015. Now every girl who attended that school knew those rules, even if no one ever admitted it out loud. They weren't written anywhere. No flyers, no warning from teachers. You just learned them the way you learn every bad things, through whispers, nervous laughter, and the looks that people give you when they realize that you have just used that bathroom, the girls' bathroom on the 3rd floor, the one with the mirror, with the last stall. I didn't believe it at first. None of us did. It sounded like a story that bored teenagers make up to scare freshmen, you know, like Bloody Mary with a new coat of paint. Until the mirror glitched. The first time I noticed something was wrong, I was washing my hands before my chemistry class. The fluorescent light flickered, buzzing like they always did, and I stared into the mirror a little bit longer than I should have. That's when I saw something red move behind me. Just a flash, like fabric swaying. When I turned, the bathroom was completely empty. When I looked back at the mirror, my reflection lagged behind me. My head felt the friction of a second after I did, like a bad video feed catching up. Then it corrected itself. I remember nervously laughing and blaming stress for all of this. But the second time though, I wasn't alone. My friend Marissa was with me after lunch. We were chit-chatting, touching up our makeup when she moved closer to the mirror to fix her eyeliner. She stopped mid-line with her hand shaking. "Did you see that?" she whispered. My stomach completely dropped. In the mirror, standing directly behind us, was a girl who we've never seen before. She was wearing a red dress, too formal for school, too old-fashioned to be modern. The fabric looked stiff, like it had dried that way. And her long black hair hung forward, hiding most of her face. Except for her mouth, it wasn't a smile, it was a wound. Her lips were split from ear to ear, the skin pulled tight and shiny, like it had healed wrong, or been forced that way. The corner of her mouth curved upward unnaturally, stretched too far, too long on a living face. She wasn't blinking, she wasn't breathing, and the crazy thing is, she wasn't even standing behind us in real life. Marissa screamed and spun around, and I followed her. The bathroom was completely empty. No doors moving, no footsteps, no red dress. But when we ran, I swear I heard something behind us. Soft, wet footsteps that didn't echo quite right. After that, everything got worse. Girls started seeing her everywhere, in the bathroom, in the mirrors, inside the last stall, and sometimes just her smile reflected where your face should be. Always silent, always watching, always wearing red. Teachers said it was mass hysteria. Administration started blaming TikTok rumors. But girls stopped drinking water altogether so they won't have to go to the bathroom. Panic attack peaked. One sophomore fainted during class from dehydration. Then the bathroom was closed. They told us it was a plumbing issue, but it wasn't. A junior named Alyssa Toner disappeared that same week. Her locker was untouched. Her phone was found smashed near the gym bathroom. Her parents insist that she would have never ran away. 2 weeks later, during renovation on the 3rd floor, they found her remains sealed behind the walls in the girls' bathroom. The official report says accidental unaliving, but she wasn't the first girl who vanished there. My aunt used to work at Hawthorne High School in the late 90s. When I told her about the girl in red, her face completely drained of color. She told me about a girl named Rosa Calderon. Rosa transferred in 1997. Quiet, always kept to herself. Always wore red, same dress, different days. Kids started teasing her. Teachers completely ignored it. Until one afternoon after school, a group of girls cornered her in the 3rd floor bathroom. It started as bullying, then it turned cruel. Then one locked the door, one held her down, and someone thought it would be funny to give her a smile that she'd never forget. Then they just left her there with red substance coming out of her body. You guys know what I'm talking about. The janitor found the red substance on the floor, but Rosa was never found. No body, no investigation, no police report. The store was sealed during renovation that summer, and Rosa was completely erased until Eliza. That night my aunt told me that story, I received a text at 3:33 a.m. from an unknown number. With the text read, "She smiles whiter now," close quote. Attached was a photo of the 3rd floor bathroom mirror. In it, a girl in red stood right behind the photograph. Her smile stretched further than before. She was smiling directly at the camera. The next day, my friend Marissa texted me from school. "I heard someone crying in the last stall. It sounded like me." Her final message came seconds later. The text read, she says she's tired of mirrors. That was 3 years ago. The school completely remodeled the entire 3rd floor last summer. New mirrors, new stalls, new walls. They said the school is safe now. Last night, while I was brushing my teeth, my reflection smiled before I did. And I swear to God, there was something red standing behind me. So, what do you guys think of this story? I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I've actually heard crazy stories about like the bathrooms and stuff, especially school bathrooms, because there's always different energy going in and out of the bathrooms. And sometimes kids, tragic happen where people get unalived at school, and a lot of times it happens in bathrooms or the hallways. But I do believe some high schools and middle schools could possibly be haunted, just like hospitals, just like nursing homes and all that stuff could possibly be haunted. And I remember reading this story about this young lady who received a text from the beyond, and it was from a girl at school. And the text was coming, and people were sharing it on Snapchat. When I used to be on Snapchat a long time ago, I remember this thing was going around about some sort of ghost that was in their school that was sending everybody text messages, and they were sharing it all on on Snapchat. And I remember receiving a picture of people just sharing, and I guess I was part of their friend group. I'm not sure how, but they ended up sharing me a picture of this person that they saw in the bathroom at their school. So anyways, and apparently the dead girl was basically texting people, which is crazy. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of this story. It was one of the long ones, so let me know what you think. I hope you enjoy. Bye. Like I said, we're going to touch up some stuff on this book. So in this book is called Spell of Abundance, Love, Wealth, and Protection. So in this book, on the first page, actually, I have a glamour affirmation that you will basically say, you stand in front of the mirror and you stare at yourself and you admire yourself, and you will say to yourself how beautiful you are. You'll basically seal this your beauty, like your glam, after you've done your makeup, or even stand in front of the mirror naked with nothing on, so you can really reaffirm yourself of your beauty, of your confidence and all that. This book is mainly for like self-confidence and self-elevation, calling the goddess in you, calling the divinity in you, calling the beauty in you, and also work with the moon, because the moon represents the woman, the mother, womb, water, all of this. So yeah, I have all the steps in here of all the spells that you need to do. It even has one to get rid of unwanted guests. It's pretty funny. To get rid of unwanted guests. And this book right here, right? So I'm gonna run down real quick of all the materials that you're going to need. You will need a brand new broom. It has to be brand new. and you'll need a piece of parchment paper, a black pen, a black trash bag, because we're going to get rid of this sucker, right? And of course your intentions. And also I have spells on here that you can say. I have daily affirmations, and also I have spells on here that you can do every single day to work with the energy of the planets of the day, and also the archangels that work with the day. So anyways, there's so many spells. There's a 7-day manifestation spell with archangels, and let's see, a 30-day money spell with bay leaves and the Fihu sign, which is a money sign. It's like an F with the extra part. Anyways, the symbol's there, and I even show you like what you need to do, what the sigil look like, all that, and the keys to enhance your spell. So there are different things on here on how to enhance your spell, and basically grow your finance, grow your love, self-love, self-admiration, chance to say to yourself to give you that extra energy to go about your day. And also it's tips to enhance your spell. Oh, I already said this. And morning coffee abundance prosperity spell. You guys remember I just shared a video about morning coffee and how important it is when it comes to hoodoo, and how you can basically use your first cup of coffee in the morning to manifest a better life or a better day, or to bring forth money to you. So don't let, you're already doing these things anyway, so you might as well just incorporate something a little bit extra to basically boost your thing. And here's to influence your boss spell. So this one, I'm sure people who are actually working are going to love this. It's to influence your boss and attract favors towards you at work. Because look, in this economy, we're all working and we need some boost at work, and we also sometimes need to be tied to our job, so therefore you don't get fired. You know what I mean? So there's some stuff that you could do to basically tie yourself to your job, and or tie the job to you. And once you're done and you're all tired of that job, you can get rid of it. It's not something that's completely permanent, but use magic, guys. It's here for you to use. You have the herbs in your closet, you have the herbs in your pantry, you have the candles that you could just simply buy some candles super cheap. Use magic to elevate your life. Use magic to make yourself better. Let me tell you, Jesus was out here using magic, okay? Walking on water and stuff, and turning water into wine. Sounds like magic to me. But anyways, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.